हमारे अंदर जो शक्तियाँ हैं उसमें से एक शक्ति ऐसी है कि जो हमारे को परमेश्वर से संबंधित कर देती है। उस शक्ति का नाम कुंडलिनी है। वो हमारे रीढ़ की हड्डी में जो त्रिकोणाकार अस्थि है उसमें सुप्तावस्था में रहती है। जब वो देखती है कि कोई ऐसा अधिकारी उसके आगे खड़ा हुआ है तो वो स्वयं ही खड़ी हो जाती है और जिस प्रकार ये रस्सी या ये कनेक्शन जिस प्रकार हम लोग मेन से लगा देते हैं उसी प्रकार वो शक्ति हमें उस मेन से लगा करके और हमें परमेश्वर से संबंधित करती है। इसी प्रकार हम अपने आत्मा को जानते हैं।
ये बाहर का समय है और इस समय अनेक लोग अपने सुकृतों को फलद्रूप होते हुए देखेंगे। आपने जो पुण्य पहले जन्म में किए हैं उसके आज आशीर्वाद स्वरूप आपको आत्म साक्षात्कार होगा।
When the Kundalini rises, you actually can see the movement of Kundalini. There have been many people who have been talking of Kundalini awakening. Actually, none of them who say so have shown the rising of the Kundalini. The reason being, the Kundalini never rose. The Kundalini only rises when there is somebody who is already enlightened and who knows the job of rising the Kundalini.
When the Kundalini rises, as I told you, she enriches your centers. The center about which I was going to talk to you today is the center of creativity, which looks after your power of action, physical and mental. This power of action moves on the right side of the spinal cord and coming to the optic chiasma, it crosses over, passes to the left side and creates an institution called ego. The institution of ego is a myth. What we do is to get something dead, like some trees dead, so make some platform or some furniture. We take some stones and make a hall, and we think we have done a great job. Actually, what we have done is to reconstruct the dead. But while doing it, we get the feeling that we have done it something. That is how our ego develops. This channel on the right hand side caters to your future. So those people who plan too much, think too much, exhaust the energy of this center, because this center has the first responsibility to convert the fat cells in the stomach for the use of the brain, which is overused, to make them into gray cells. So when you start thinking too much, it has to work more for this very important function. When it starts working for one function, the other functions are neglected. And the other functions are, it has to cater, to nourish, or to give energy to your liver, to your pancreas, to your spleen, to your kidneys, and part of your intestine. So, once you start neglecting these organs, first your liver suffers. Means the function of liver gets limited. The function of the liver basically is to absorb the heat of the body, which is the poison, and allow it to permeate into the bloodstream. But the energy is so limited that it cannot function properly. So this center starts neglecting liver, and liver then cannot get rid of all the heat of the body. So the heat starts flowing upward. When it starts flowing upward, then there's a center, what we call as the right heart, which gets affected. People develop a disease called asthma with it. Also, they develop the disease, what we call as a massive heart attack on the left-hand side, when the heat reaches there. They also can develop a paralysis of the right side when it reaches the brain. The vulnerability is there. And then it is triggered somehow by the left side action, maybe. Such people are futuristic. They go on planning for the future. Future doesn't exist. Only the present is the truth. But they go on planning about future, waste their energies, and ultimately find that all their plans fail. One must know the divine plan. If you know the divine plan, then you don't have to plan, because you know the divine is already planning for you everything. When you understand after realization that everything is done by Param Chaitanya, by this all pervading power, by this Ruh, then you do not think that you are doing something. Moreover, as I told you, when the Kundalini rises through the Agya chakra, both these institutions of ego and superego are sucked in, so there is no ego. So you become egoless. So your karmas or your duties or your so-called work you have done become akarmas. Then you don't talk like this, that I have done this, I have done that. They say, oh, it's rising, it's happening, it's working out. To start speaking in the third person. Even sometimes children you will find, they talk like that. This little boy won't go because it is obstinate. They'll talk about themselves. If you notice, if they are real life schools, they talk like that in the third person. So you become a third person. And nourishment to this energy, to this center comes through your realization. As the Kundalini is connected to the mains, as a result, you get into balance. You are in thoughtless awareness. Somebody has asked me about the thinking yesterday. So the thought arises from the past or from the future. As we have a capacity to react because of the construction of our body as a prism. It's a little scientific thing, but if you listen to some of my lectures, you'll understand what I mean. Now, what happens when you see something, you react. Anything you see, you react. You see this carpet, you'll react. You will see this mic, you'll react. You'll think something about it. So, a thought comes either from the future or from the past, and there's a wave of thought coming and going, again thought coming and going. It comes and disappears. In between these thoughts, there's a little space, which is the present. But if I say you pay attention to yourself, to your present, you cannot. Unless and until you are a realized soul. So when the Kundalini rises, these thoughts they lean out, means they become thin. When they become thin, the space in between increases, and that's how you become thoughtlessly aware. So the thinking is minimized. Then the liver doesn't have to do all the time the job of converting your fat cells into gray cells. It comes into balance. Then the second one is the pancreas. That is neglected too. In a person who is futuristic, who thinks too much, plans too much, that also become neglected. Now, the function of the pancreas is to absorb the sugar into bloodstream in a proper way. But because it is neglected, it has a very limited energy, it cannot function, so you get diabetes. Because of too much thinking, you get diabetes. As I told you yesterday that in India, if you have to give tea to someone, be careful if he's from a village. Because in the village, you have to put so much sugar that the spoon should stand at right angles, otherwise it's no tea for them. And they never get diabetes. Never get diabetes. Diabetes is the headache of the people who sit on chairs, write, think, worry, and are time bound. All such people get diabetes. They are futuristic, egoistical, arrogant, hot-tempered. And such people get also heart attacks, which are of a massive nature. The left heart is connected in a way. When there's too much of exertion on the physical side, also one can get heart attack. The another type of heart attack one gets is a angina. That's due to some other reason. That's due to the lethargic heart. So now we have another problem which is very serious, is that of the spleen. Spleen is the speedometer. It's the one that gives us rhythm. If we are rhythmic in life, spleen keeps all right. But we are very hectic. And the function of the spleen is to create red blood corpuscles whenever there is an emergency. So the way we are always under a shock. Early in the morning you get up, what do you see? You read the newspaper, horrid news. I mean, newspapers have to give horrid news. They never give good news, They say we don't want to say if some plane has landed safely. But but if there's a disaster, so many have died, killed in action, murders, horrible things, naturally you get a shock because you are a human being. And in a subconscious, you feel. In the unconscious area, you get the jerk. There's a shock. Then you start the day in a hectic way. You are time bound, you have to rush, you can't take your breakfast, you just take something, grab. Rush to the car or maybe on anything, and then you find a jam. In modern days, everything keeps you on attention. Then you reach the office, there's the boss is getting angry with you because you are late. As it is, I don't know how much work we really produce. Only the mess we have created in this world, I think, much more in the modern times than much work. We cannot have people like Mozart nowadays. We can't have anyone like Michelangelo. We cannot have any artists who can create beautiful things. We do not have beautiful buildings now, horrible plastics. We cannot have beautiful artistic clothes. Everything is becoming plastic, and for which we are working so very hard to create plastic mountains. All this leads to tensions. So we become tense. And the tensions go on increasing as this ego increases, covers all your head. And you go into tension. But the worst thing that happens to you, that this spleen, which is the one responsible for keeping the rhythm of your life, goes hectic and becomes crazy. It doesn't understand what sort of a personality you are. Sometimes you rush to that, sometimes you rush to that. There's no rhythm in your life. So it gets upset. And it starts producing red blood corpuscles unrhythmically. It doesn't know. So the vulnerability is there. And as soon as there's any triggering from the left side, you develop a horrible disease called blood cancer. And the only treatment you can have in the medical science is that you will be certified that you will die after 8 days or after 1 month. That's the only possibility. But with Kundalini awakening, your own power nourishes this center and supplies energy, soothes down your hectic speedometer, which is the spleen, and the disease gets cured. There are many we know of who got their blood cancer cured, and even after 6-7 years they are living and kicking all right. All this is available to you within yourself. This is all being promised. Many great people have written about it. It's not that I'm saying something new. Only the new thing we are seeing here is that you can get mass realization. Then is the kidney. Kidney also gets affected, firstly by the heat of the liver, and secondly by the strenuous type of life you lead, futuristic, neglected, and then you get blood pressures. Blood pressures you get till you get failure of your kidneys, or you might get a paralysis. Anything is possible. So we have blood pressure, high blood pressure. All this is only because of one center when it is out of gear. But if all the 7 centers are out of gear, what should happen to us? And I think the modern life is such that it could be, all centers could be in danger. So it is eminent, is important that we should get our Kundalini awakened and we should enjoy the best health. Health, of course, you enjoy very well, no doubt. But apart from health, you enjoy many other things. First of all, you enjoy yourself. Today, there's no time to discuss all the centers. But still, I would say that I would like to give you all the benefits of Sahaja Yoga, which are possible. That you start enjoying others. You become righteous, as I told you, and you start enjoying your virtues. You are no more a critic of things. If you have to criticize, you criticize yourself, laugh at yourself, and you don't laugh at others. You start correcting yourself. If you have the art of Kundalini awakening, because yoga means, of course, The union with the divine also means yukti, meaning the deftness. Deftness to raise the Kundalini of yours and of others. If you know the decoding of these centers on your fingertips, 5, 6, and 7 on the left side, and 5, 6, and 7 on the right side. If you just know the decoding, immediately you can do the diagnosis. What is wrong basically with you now? And you can correct it. So physically, mentally, emotionally, you can correct yourself. And spiritually you ascend. You ascend to a state of a saint, a sage. And the time has come for us to become sages. For that, you don't have to leave your homes, houses, run away from your families, nothing. That's an escape. You don't have to suffer. You have to enter into the kingdom of God to enjoy that beauty and bounty of Islam. It's nothing external. It is the internal beauty that we have to know. Now it's very simple. I'll tell you there are 2, 3 conditions. The first one is you have to take out your shoes if it doesn't shock. Because this Mother Earth helps us a lot. She absorbs all our problems. Now the second condition is, which is also not very absurd, that please don't feel guilty about anything. It's a fashion. I'm very guilty. Why are you guilty? No, I have to confess. I'm very guilty. About what? You know, the other day I was eating the food and I was holding knife on the right hand. Finished. These norms are human beings have created. This kind of stupid things for which you should feel guilty, and get this center here on the left hand side. You get spondylitis, also angina. It's a fact. So not to feel guilty. What are you guilty about? If you were guilty, you would have been in jail, not here. So please, first of all, forgive yourself completely. You are not guilty, I assure you. It's a new evolution with people's mind that they should feel guilty. Finished. If you are guilty, when it happened, you should have done something about it or forget it. Why are you carrying that load on your left Vishuddha? That's the second one. And the third one is, I think is also very simple, is to forgive yourself, as I said, and forgive others. Now you say, Mother, we can't, it's a bit difficult. But try to understand the logic. Whether you forgive or don't forgive, what do you do? Nothing. Just the same. But say if you don't forgive, then what happens? You play into wrong hands. You torture yourself. So just say in your heart that, Mother, I forgive myself fully. I forgive others fully. Whether they are in your mind or not, just say that and this center will open up in no time. These will all help me a lot. These 3 things are very important, and I know you can get your realization in no time. So to put your hands like this towards me, like this, just simple, as if you're asking for self-realization, like this. Need not be higher, this thing, just whatever is comfortable. People can't believe that sitting in the hall, how can you get realization? But you deserve it. You get it because that's the time and because you are seekers. Don't doubt yourself, please. Have your hands like that. Now you can close your eyes if you want to. If you don't want to close, don't close your eyes. Because there's no mesmerism going on. At least I close my eyes. Now, put the right hand towards me and put the left hand on top of your fontanelle bone area. Now you'll feel some cool or a hot breeze coming out of your fontanelle bone area, which was a soft bone in your childhood. Don't put your hand on top of it. You have to put it away from you, and you can move the hand to see yourself. Don't say that you've got it unless until you've got it. We are not to cheat ourselves. All right. Now please put your left hand towards me and put the right hand on top of you. You can bend your hip. That's better if you bend your head. And with the right hand you see. Once more, please put your right hand towards me. And again with the left hand, you see for yourself if there's a cool or a hot breeze is coming. Now don't doubt it. If it is coming, it is there. Could be hot. It will cool down. You can move up on the sides and see for yourself. Now open your eyes and put your both the hands towards me like this. Now watch me without thinking, without thinking. Just try. You can do it. Huh? Now, raise your both the hands towards the sky like this. Push back your head. And ask any one of these three questions 3 times. Any one of them. First one, Mother, is this the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost? First question is this the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost? Second question is, Mother, is this the all-pervading power of divine love? Third question is, Mother, is this the Ruh or the Param Chaitanya? Ask any one of these questions 3 times in your heart. Now again put down your hands, that's all. Now put your hands like this towards me. Just like that. All those who have felt cool or hot breeze on their palms, or on their fingertips, or out of their fontanelle bone area, please raise your both hands. Just look at that. You're proving what I've said. Just look at that. Now you've got it. Now this is a responsibility to grow. May God bless you.